Gibson out of the team, like for like, but you'd like to have both of them, wouldn't you?
Yeah.
So dangerous coming off half-back. All about options last week as far as the Hawks were concerned. Real appetite for the contest. The umpires this afternoon, Footmar gets and Meredith. We're underway. Bright sunny day in Melbourne. Bill Chambers wins the tap as that man, Lewis, gets a hand pass out wide. Birchall socketed forward, ripped away by Watson, goes down towards half forward. Carlisle takes the mark, 55 metres out. Kicks to space, interesting kick. Chapman, will he get there in time? Yes, he does. Dragged down, missed by Stanton. Coming up is Cooney. Plenty of time though. Watson again. Stanton, Cooney, monopolising the footy, pulls it back towards the middle. Heppel control the bounce well. Watson, Cooney. They've got an arrangement close to the boundary line. O'Rourke took him down, holding the ball. First gamer with the Hawks this afternoon. Gets a free kick at halfback.
A lot of things you can do to endear yourself for your teammates, but laying a tackle is your first real situation in the game, really, that gets you in the good books.
So the number 2 draft pick seen so sparingly as a giant. Here's the man, one of the 3-ins this afternoon, Birchall, who's been so devastating in recent times, and that's why pinpoints the kick, finds Stratton on the outer side. Roughhead just ominously lurking about, waiting for the ball to be fed inside.
Thanks.
So Bruce, long ball inside 50. Tall timber, Gunston not quite. Heppel quickly to Watson. A little fumble by Gleeson. And quickly pouncing on it is Roughhead. He'll hold it up. So little time for errors against this Hawthorn outfit. Little fumble and suddenly dangerous times for the Bombers. And really dangerous now. Cyril over the top. Not quite. Chance for Suckling. He's got that wonderful left boot. This time it is offline.
Yes, and the value of Roughhead. The ability to actually lay the tackle as a big forward, Jared Roughhead, just outstanding.
Hibbert to himself, runs to the pocket. Frawley being held on to. Ambrose in front. Ball spills out of bounds. So we've had 21 possessions. Jared Watson's had 4 of them. So percentage-wise, that's a pretty good start. Boundary throw in about 60 metres out from goal. Cool day, pretty day. Almost cloudless skies. Rioli, if you don't mind. Delusions of height. He gets it across to Hodge, who swings goalward and misses out to the left. I was going to say of grandeur, but he's a grand player. Little fella jumping up there and knocking it down.
Well, I reckon he's as quick as any player's ever played the game. The acceleration, the reflexes, the bounce, the lightness on his feet, Rioli, and he just saw he could just take the ball out of the ruck work, so he did.
Whatever he does, it doesn't surprise you. It amazes you, but not surprise you. Well, the best and fairest for the Bombers last year. He arrived and looked like he belonged from the first game. He's got better. The runner-up in the best and fairest, and Hooker, who's blossomed. Stanton, aside to Bagley. Well, from body language, didn't look like he liked his options going forward. Looked like he was frustrated. Hawthorn have a habit of doing that to players. Rioli, really clever to Hodge, to Hill. Hill just works it away from Collier, now to Suckling on the left foot. Tumbling ball to half forward. Hurley stood up, did a good job of it. Hooker sweeps it inside. Not so good. Smith's intercept terrific. Now a chance for Puopolo. Quickly to McAvoy. Heppel the tackler. Suckling. Hodge. Well, had to be gathered by Hurley. He did a good job of it and crashes it down the line.
Close to the boundary. Ambrose run down. Gets to his feet. Collier. Well done by this beatster. Around the outer side. Numbers, though, favour Hawthorn here. 3-on-1. The one is Chapman, the bald one. Birchall. Eventually, the numbers almost tell the story. Blake coughed it up. Carlisle. Chapman. Opportunity for the Bombers. Eventually, Hill goes in as the 4th man and comes to Suckling. Hardly convincing. Burgoyne, generally so poised, runs away from half-back. Segler takes the mark. In the shadows, Segler played pretty well last week. On the lead, getting under the ball, Gunston backing him up. Here's Hodge. Gunston runs on. Awkward bounce for him, though. Gwilt missed him. Now Gunston suddenly finds himself in space. Pleasant surprise. Not so for Segler, though the big fellow had to go and find the footy. Stood up, got it away. Langford comes back. Burgoyne uses Smith. Looks across the ground, nothing there. Sends a high ball down towards Hawthorn. Heppel won't get to the contest. Reaching in Gleeson. Did okay. Goddard.
Well, he's got a couple of hooks to beat. Did well to Cooney. And now to Hawthorn. And now that back has space. There was a terrific kick to Carlisle. Stanton just pointing to go short. He does in the end. Terrific from Chapman and Stanton. Waving up and down in the goal square, screaming for the ball. Chappie still hasn't seen him. Now has, but saw him too late.
Yeah, 35 metres out on a very slight angle. I think you've got to be an absolute certainty to give it off. And he took his time a bit, Chapman. Good start by Carlisle. He's actually, that's decided which week we're going to play him, big defence or big forward. But he's actually become a good target early in the game.
So Chapman, 33 now, played 20 games last year as a Bomber, 8 the previous with the Cats. Can he start things well? Absolutely. Chapman gets the first major of the afternoon. Well, he's been absolutely embraced by this Essendon Football Club and fans alike. In his last year as a Cat, there was much talk about whether or not he would be around, but his second year now as a Bomber, he's the 7th oldest in the league, and he continues to delight the Bombers faithful.
Good start by Paul Chapman, kicks the first goal. We spoke about Sean Burgoyne at the start of the game. He actually isn't in the middle, he's at half back, so he's swapping with Birchall as that real set-up player in defence for the Hawks.
A little cool on the bench when Chapman came off and Stanton was sitting there. Have a look at that. Flicked forward by Watson, Zaharakis, Bell Chambers, Melksham, and now Cooney squares it. Gleeson pushes up from half back, slips away, searching kick inside the forward 50. Goddard in best position, working back hard, frisking him almost there is Lake. Goddard keeps it alive, comes back towards the middle. Giray was up, couldn't hang on. Clever by Lewis, Suckling, Burgoyne, now Bruce. From left half back, drives it up towards the wing. Gunston, a master.
Right on it.
Body to body and then slips in front. Right start to the game. Well, Wilt can't believe his luck. Howlett, Cooney fires a pass in. Goddard, the two free agents combined.
So Zaharakis on the end of it, still far to score. Cooney, top of the square. Danaher, front spot Carlisle.
They had to kick their second goal, Essendon. Clearly, Hawthorn a bit sloppy. They dominated that first 5 minutes or so, but just sloppy. Kicked a couple of behinds. But Essendon are about to do the ultimate pressure, the scoreboard, by kicking a couple of shots, a couple of goals. Changes things completely.
So the Bombers second and Carlisle's first for the year. And for the Hawks, it's been a couple that are normally beautiful users. Suckling, he hasn't kicked it as he often does, and Gunston on the outer side, just a little sloppy. First two majors of the afternoon going the way of Essendon. Hawthorn, just a couple of behinds. The Bombers, 10 points to the good.
So Chappie comes off. There's a word to Stanton. Just a little cool, you've got to say.
That's a sorry, mate. I didn't see you, Dennis, and he's not sure if he did see you.
There was a shrug of the shoulders just before that too, so interesting stuff. All forgiven though, he kicks straight. Langford, Lewis, hooks it down towards half-forward. Gleeson goes back, takes the mark.
Right on it.
What about going? Roughhead. Big frame right in front of him. Here's Collier, accelerates. Awkward one. Melksham off balance, driven down hard. Watson, Stanton. What a good shepherd there too. Hurley sends it inside the forward 50. Juggled mark by Lake. Cross halfback.
Doesn't often lose those. The one-on-one contests are brilliant last year. He and Harry Taylor. Hard men to beat. Well, Hodge ends up with Purepo. Quick one to Langford. The tackling pressure from Essendon early has been wonderful. Watson receives and goes backwards. Plenty of space now. The Bombers can contemplate. Bagley short to the outer side. Merritt. Now to Heppel. In the sunshine. So Melksham. There's some angst just before. I'm not sure whether the cameras picked it up. Hodge unloaded, kicked the ball and immediately turned around and gave a spray to some fellow defenders. Well, this time it's late. Force it to ground. Zaharakis. Sharks. Pitches and rolls off the green.
Second best result there for Zaharakis. A goal would have been better, but they've got a stoppage in a dangerous spot. The angle virtually puts it directly in front of goal. Hodge out of mid-air. Segler's in front. Hooker played it well. Bagley lays it off. Hibbert feigns a hand pass, in trouble. Got boot to ball, so it's play on. Segler, that was nimble, picked it up nicely. Now he's in trouble, not so nimble. It's a free kick to the Bombers. Howard, that's ambitious.
Really good 5 minutes by Essendon. Hawthorn got them the first few minutes, but they've now got control of the game and they've kicked a couple of goals. So Hawthorn, all of a sudden, they've got a little bit of the opposition pressure on them now.
Early on standby, sends it long, towering kick, misses to the left-hand side.
Birchall indecision, decides that he alone is the best option. Lewis, who Lee Matthews spoke about pre-matches, having a career best year and suddenly one of the great influences in this competition. Lewis to Hodge. So 3 safe Hawks work it out of defensive 50. Birchall to Lewis to Hodge. Lee, Hodge is almost the last of the captain coaches. I mean, Jezza and Blight in 81, but he's close, isn't he?
Yeah, well, we spoke about it before the game, the value of the on-field, virtually the on-field coach, and Hodges probably leads the competition in that quality.
O'Rourke's kick, plucked out by Bombers. Hurley thumps it forward. Frawley fumbles. Suddenly Ambrose. Birchall to beat Ambrose and Birchall. Birchall, Ambrose. Call it a draw. Tough way to start the season for the Bombers. Sydney away and then the Hawks at the MCG. But they've started well this afternoon. Goddard run down by Puopolo. You can just imagine his profile. Some say love to walk along the beach. Puopolo just loves to tackle.
Here's Smith. Cross half back. What a beautiful kick. Distance and accuracy. Rioli bounces one around the corner. Anderson down towards full forward. Wilt peels off, comes to meet it and takes it across the boundary line. 13 plays 2, early going. It's Sunday football at the MCG, and it's hard to be here at the MCG without thinking of Richie Beno. Sad days. Tossed in. Langford. Puopolo rolls reverse, but he was tackled high. Loves to tackle and loves to be tackled high.
That's very tough not to tackle high. One thing about being short, you should get a lot of high tackles because going at the hips means you're virtually diving head first. So Hurley, the bigger man, just wasn't able to crouch the knees sufficiently to go low enough.
The way he fights back, I think, Lee, is that stubble. I think it's like sandpaper. Takes the skin off. And he comes. Kick is on the way, and it's good. Well done. A few guys going around now, masters of forcing the tackle high, bringing up the arm under the tackler's arm. And we'll see that shortly. Puopolo, one of those. We saw Shuey on Friday night at the West Coast Eagles. Luke Shuey mastered it, but it's a hard way to get a free kick.
The common denominator is they're all pretty short. They've all got to be under about 5'11" to get high tackles.
There was a sloppy tackle from Hurley there, giving away the free kick, but he's done well so far. He's had 6 touches, rough head yet to touch the ball, so that matchup's working for the Bombers.
Bombers by 5 then. Good bounce. Well, Chambers waits. Wins still. Burgoyne slips it away. Birchall, lovely. Lewis, high ball. Awkward one to mark that. As a result, Hooker couldn't hang on. Gunston, Anderson slips it across to Bruce. 5 goals last week. Dropped the footy. Still going. Heppel was waiting for him. Bruce in trouble. Did he have prior opportunity when he fumbled? Apparently not. Hibbert gives it across to Watson.
The fumble might have given him a second possession, then he certainly had it the first time before he lost it.
Fumbling his back.
So Puopolo kicked the first for the Hawks last weekend as the first and only major for the Hawks. 15 minutes into this round 2 battle. Essendon have got their hands on the football, and it's in good hands. Over the top it goes. Reaching with great reach on that occasion. Ambrose. Levers went out. Suddenly gives it off. They're running in numbers, the Bombers. This time Melksham over the top. Danaher at full stretch. The kick wonderful. So the Bombers kicked the first 5 against the Swans last weekend. Danaher to make it 3 of the first 4 this afternoon.
They're using their ball well into their forward 50. The Essendon team, they're not bombing it too high if they can help it. Just waiting for their forwards to move into space.
In this jumper, at this club, with that name, he carries so much expectation. He's been carrying it well offline on this occasion.
Former great Essendon full forward Matthew Lloyd has been doing some specialist goal kicking coaching with the Essendon forwards, and Joe Danaher is probably one that they're hoping is going to be there for many, many years and going to have many shots at goal.
Crawley accelerates through the curve, takes a while, goes too far, says the umpire. Wow. He got it around about the 50, didn't he? Oh no.
Yeah, I think he's probably gone about 25, Dennis, so he's well over his margin.
All right, then.
Often you can run 25, though. That's the point. Every now and again, the umpire is very lenient on them.
Ambrose inside the forward 50. Destroyed from the back by Segler. Cooney applies a tackle on Suckling, and we've got a ball up. So about 25 metres out. Dangerous spot, but Essendon doing best, but need to put it on the scoreboard. Belchambers locks up with Segler. Here's a chance. Howlett smothered off the boot. Suckling did well.
Back out again, guys. Thanks, Isaac. Straight away.
Well, the 2 ruckmen on that occasion. Heppel and Hodge. Suckling. Right boot didn't look quite as comfortable as he normally does. Touched just.
Feeling Frawley might looking a bit sore there, holding the right arm.
He was on the right side for once of a 10-goal game last weekend. Lewis gets rid of the ball quickly as Zaharakis applied the tackle. Bruce wants Rioli. Why wouldn't you? Well done, Gwilt.
Talked about that before the game, Hame. That calm that Lewis plays with, particularly when he's being tackled. He just thinks his way through it.
Half a metre.
Terrific. Can't teach that.
What those big midfielders who were strong around the hips, Dennis, their bulk enables them to hold their position even when being tackled.
Big tackle this time from Chapman. Ball spills. Suddenly Merritt just thumps the ball forward. Ambrose, tough bounce, favoured Burgoyne. And deliberate, so Ambrose has a win.
About 70 metres from goal then. Kick favours Danaher. Got hands to it. The sun a problem. Keeps going though. Back to goal. Collier looks towards the middle. Too much carry for Zaharakis. Still 2-on-1. Left there by Merritt for Zaharakis, who crawls after the football in the opposite direction. Melksham. And we've got a ball up. Well, they were very close then, Essendon. No cigar. Segler. Ball tossed up. There he is. Speak of the devil. Knocks it down. Birchall kicks it out towards the boundary. Runs on. Roughhead coming up the ground. Put his stamp on the game. O'Rourke smiths away.
Through the middle they go. Now it's a foot race. Rioli got led to the ball by Bagley. Kick didn't help the fabulous Hawk, and Bagley did a good job. Plenty of space. Hooker, he's chosen on the outer side. Goddard becomes the option, being shadowed by Langford, ignored. So Melksham runs into space. Collier provides an option. So too, different height, Danaher. Carlisle. Well done, Duray. Almost lost his spot in this side. Gibson out yesterday. Duray stayed.
Frawley, yeah, it looks like something top the right-hand side of his chest, yeah, pectoral muscle, something of that region.
Segler decisively. Langford stood up in the tackle. Suckling needs to be careful. Had a while. Duray. Lewis drives it down towards the attacking 50, and the ball out of bounds on the full. Unlike him, Hooker, all Australian last year, coming off a terrific season. Up from the back pocket, kicks out of the shadows towards that outer side wing. Taken by Heppel. Nicely done by Merritt. Melksham. Heppel again. Chapman in space. Those cruising closest with teammates. Threw him a bit. Speaking of being thrown, Zaharakis hits the deck. Ball up.
Gents, you spoke about James Frawley going down the rooms. He hasn't returned yet. But the other one is Ben Howler. He went to spoke to the doctor and then went downstairs as well. So we'll keep an eye on that.
Bombers by a goal. 21 gone in the first term. Suckling. Tackled by Cooney. Worked well for Chapman. Merritt, clever. Wet low. Watson just dances and shimmies and then goes searching for Collier.
Guys, subs being made down here. Frawley out of the game. Sicily's going to come in for his first game of AFL football.
So the 20-year-old Sicily has spent a year on the list waiting for this moment. Bell Chambers, Heppel quickly forward, bouncing ball. Ambrose has to deal with Burgoyne. Burgoyne won the battle. Terrific stuff. Birchall quickly forward, bouncing ball, made it tough. Well, tough for O'Rourke.
Got the free kick.
As always, almost a weekly reminder, Den, for all of us how tough this game is.
Yeah. Now Danaher leaves the ground there. Not sure what that all means. Apart from the fact that Young O'Rourke's got a sore head, the ball's out of bounds. Interesting game of football. The Bombers playing a little better than the Hawks at the moment, as though a weight has been lifted. And again, the weight came back late last week. Zaharakis, Chapman drives it inside the forward 50. Again, the sun is a problem. And Carlisle was slow to come at the footy. Blake, meantime, took the mark, goes to Hodge. Now they've got two runners on the outer side. They can work this all the way down to the 50 virtually, make that 3. Smith is on the burst. Away he goes, looks to the 50. Gunston on the move, and he's marked 60 metres out. Needs to wheel around. Langford offers, Roughhead offers. Gunston disinterested. Just lobbing it up towards full forward. Segler's the target there. Off hands, falls in front. Lewis arrived, couldn't control the footy. Gleeson's got a problem, dragged down, and the umpire calls for it.
Howlett's back on the boundary line, guys. Looks to be okay.
Straight back.
McAvoy and Segler. No clear win. Langford. What a September he had. Howard back from the rooms, as Nick Maxwell alluded to. Isaac Smith, wonderful runner. Also a good leaper. Watson, terrific to Zaharakis. Quick and clean. Zaharakis wants Ambrose on the outer side.
It's interesting that Will Langford, I mean, the example of Hawthorn being a very good team, hard to get a game. Sometimes your kids have to spend a couple of years developing, and when they finally get their chance, they're more ready than the 18-year-old who could potentially lose their confidence if they played too early. It's just an interesting situation, I think, that with the good clubs as opposed to the lesser clubs.
You saw Frawley, brown and gold, now has red on it. Gunston onto the left boot, top of the square. Segler caught behind, front spot, Hooker. Stanton, measured kick, terrific in the end.
Hold, Jet, hold!
So Hibbert has Stanton, who continued to run. Gwilt short, both ignored. Hurley runs into space amongst three Hawks. Kick was terrific. Stanton, halfback. Again, Ambrose, and suddenly there's a loose man in Danaher. Cooney didn't see him, went to the outer side. Carlisle's free too. Kick just a little bit too hot. Stratton in a foot race to the outer side. Danaher looked to be demanding the football. Easier to see him up here from a good vantage point. Yeah. Wasn't seen.
No, just missed him. Danaher remonstrating, but obviously the bloke was looking at somebody else. High on Gunston against Zaharakis. 14 plays 8. A couple of minutes out from quarter time. Gunston in characteristic fashion gets right over the ball. Gets that hit over the footy. Got it back to Hodge. Hodge to Lake. Deep in his own defensive area. It's being booed at the moment. Don't know why. Ball comes out towards the wing, and the mark is taken by Stratton. Running hard, Suckling feeds it forward. Here's Hill. The interchange gates under pressure, kicks a high ball down towards the 50. Anderson couldn't take the mark. Hooker, Wilt, intended for Gleeson. Merritt. Plenty of bombers around the footy. The skipper gets involved. Watson, cool head, goes back to the back pocket, and Bagley across the ground. Hibbert. So Hibbert, right back pocket now. Hurley. It's a pretty settled defence, this one, and they're playing like it.
Almost 30 more disposals, Lee, for the Bombers. Just a 6-point lead. Clever from Smith to Hodge, back to Smith, and a fumble.
Yeah, they haven't got the score on the ball, but I think I thought Essendon just might be really off because of last week's, overexertion. But Dennis, I think your theory that Hawthorn might have been patting themselves on the back of a week, or everyone else was.
Hey, God, Lee.
Because I just think at the moment Hawthorn are sort of going through the motions. I mean, everyone's trying their hardest. That's not the point, but they're just not really getting that real vigour into their game, and Essendon are.
Roughhead. Hasn't been seen too much. Gwilt being seen for the first time in an Essendon jumper. Segler, quick give, well done. Sicily, first kick.
Having said that, Lee, Geelong were in front last week at quarter time.
Oh, yeah, I don't think it means that they're necessarily going to win. I'm just saying the first quarter's indication of just those two either come psychological, physical combination of what are the teams able to produce this week.
Gleeson to himself. Rode a bump and kicks it to Goddard. So the clock is at 23 seconds. Short one. Bell Chambers exposes the middle, but it bounced obligingly. Stanton, Goddard. Still time to score. Back to the corridor. Collier. Now they need to go forward and not sideways. Otherwise, I think the moment will be lost. Wilt's got it. But we're down to 5 seconds. Wilt up towards the wing, and that will be the last action of the term. Interesting start. Low-scoring affair. And the Bombers, with more possession, lead 2-2-14. Hawthorn 1-3-9. This is Sunday football at the MCG. Possession-wise in the first term, Luke Hodge has got 10. It's the usual suspects doing the usual job. Jordan Lewis has 8. Joe Watson has 12. Jake Melksham has 9. Start of the second term then. The margin 5 points. Essendon on top. Hard to get a goal. Spills wide. That ball in dispute. Rioli from one direction, Heppel from the other. Umpire will do it again.
We said pre-game, Lewis is off in the anchor point centre square, but Rioli and Langford are in there as well.
Watson pumps it outside the centre square. Hill to his own advantage, wanting it to sit. It does. Lewis. Another step. High ball towards the wing from behind Bell Chambers. Strong tackle by Gwilt. Gunston goes down.
Point B, it'll be very hard to guess who's going to be Hawthorn centre square squad because there was so many, about half their team is going to go through there at various stages.
Rioli lightning off the mark. Quick bounce inside 50. He's found his man, but his man's let him down. Hurley does the defensive work. Well, Hill might get an opportunity to help out again, but Rioli's first 3 steps, Lee, electric.
It's that power, as I say. I've never seen a player that's quicker. What I call genuine quickness. That is a 5-metre surge, just light on his feet, reflexes. He is just an outstanding. He's not prolific, doesn't get a lot of the footy, but he's outstanding when he does.
No wonder he's had such issues with his hamstrings.
Yeah.
Puts them under.
Oh, absolutely. Stresses them.
Taken Arioli, Hill on the end of the handball. Now McAvoy front spot. Knocks it down. Chance, well, maybe half a chance. In the end, Anderson goes backwards to Segler. Missing it, Langford. Bell Chambers roving, giving it off to Watson. Now to Zaharakis. Now this is just a one-on-one foot race on the other side. Ambrose leads Hodge to the ball. Hodge gets left behind. Ambrose snaps around, won't have the travel. He'll get far enough though. Danaher in the square.
Joe, straight in front.
Yes, he can do a lot of things, Luke Hodge, but he's not really a sprinter, I think it's fair to say. And Ambrose was able to just basically outrun him back into that the forward line. But the errant hand pass, of course, in the Hawthorn forward 50 created that whole situation where the ball just bounced out of the area where Hawthorn had the numbers.
One behind so far for Danaher. Make it 1-1. The Bombers start the second term well. They lead by 11.
Well, you get the separation normally on that turn as you go through the bend, and that's where Ambrose got it. Running in a straight line and suddenly just veer off. Other bloke doesn't expect it. Harder for him to negotiate the turn than you. Wasn't good at science, but that's how it looks. Margin is 11 points.
We'll have a look at this. He had the 5 metres on Hodge, and I guess that as soon, Dennis, as you said, as soon as he cut inside, he just dropped Hodge off his tail.
I just talk a good run. Head pass comes across towards Merritt. Got it from Goddard, Bell Chambers, and suddenly momentum is wearing red and black down towards half forward. Suckling under the pump. Heppel comes in, hasn't got the footy. Surely, umpire. Play goes on. Fending off Borders down there was Puopolo. Langford went to ground. Scrambles a kick alongside the centre circles. Hurley, Merritt. Now Stanton. Nice kick. Out wide. Only problem is Hibbert's a left footer. He was thinking about that before he took control of the footy. Rioli thinking about the boundary line. Hitting back as Hibbert. Picks it up a couple of metres inside. Flicks it across to Melksham. He's been busy. Goes to Merritt.
Merritt looks at options. Decides long is good to tall men. Danaher and Carlisle are chosen. Little fumble from the man who kicked the last. The third for the Bombers. And it's in dangerous territory if you're a Hawks fan. What a start to this match for Essendon. Hawthorn so heavily fancied. Mitchell laid out. Gibson yesterday, and Essendon have got their teeth into this one. McAvoy, Bell Chambers, Heppel cruised on by. In the end it was Birchall who got boot to ball. Langford runs into Watson, not before a clever slap. Heppel around the corner. Hawks will get beaten to the ball. This time it's Melksham. Takes it out of the air. McAvoy takes Melksham out of the air to ground.
Thanks, guys.
That's when it's dangerous. Nobody's fault. Big man gets hold of a little man. And this is what happens. Arms pinned. Hawthorn's free. Lewis wants to go. That won't do. He was well forward of the mark, and the whistle had gone definitively. So McAvoy will take the footy. Goes to the back pocket. Gunston. Not afraid to work back. We've said that many times before. Now Hill can take off around the outer side. Couple of bounces. Goddard trying to cut him off a pass there. Couldn't. Stratton's got it now.
Quickly inside 50. Segler's chosen. A couple of Bombers to beat. Kick wasn't ideal in the end. Gleeson gets taken to ground. Savaged in the Hawks. Well, they start to get desperate for one now. Just one goal so far. 5 minutes into the second term. It's most un-Hawthorn-like. Roughhead gets his second disposal, his second handball. Langford fumbles. Pressure is on from Hurley. Langford goes and gets the ball again. Lost it again. So a quiet afternoon so far for Jared Roughhead. Hasn't been the service that he has seen in recent times. He'll be under pressure for the afternoon. Gleeson, a slightly framed Karoit boy. Gleeson's dominate Karoit as a rule. Nice to see him out there. Chooses Watson, who goes to Stanton.
He's at right half back. And again, it's the Bombers dictating the terms. Goes a long way back. Hibbert. Now breaking on the outer side is Goddard. Ball goes in that direction. How did he get that free? Forward of half back, sweeps it over the top. Gwilt with his new club. Looks inside the forward 50. Danaher will fly from behind. Up he goes, couldn't hang on. Found it on the deck. Immediately put to the ground though. Ambrose on his knees. Lake played it brilliantly. Across to Birchall. Birchall lowers the eyes and just pops it across to his teammate there in Hodge. Hodge close to the boundary, and Gunston, as they probe for a way out here, Gunston flirting with the idea of going back across goal. Suckling. Hodge. Now the run from Birchall. They like it in his hands up towards the wing. Segler. Behind though it's Gleeson. Hibbert. Comes back on his left foot, very left-sided. Merritt, will it get there in time? No, knocked away by Smith.
Well, Hooker had to wait a long time, lost the football after the handball. Bruce gets savage too. Ferocious stuff again at the MCG. And it's the slighter frame, the smaller man ending up with the football. Small but fierce is Merritt. Zaharakis happy just to take some time. Switches on. Hurley, Gwilt in his brand new jumper. Stratton goes towards him. Long ball is on. He's seen his man too. This time it's Danaher. The kick terrific. Danaher, he's got Chapman, just hesitated. Inside again to Collier. Tall to short. Now Cooney a little fumble. Back to where it all started. Danaher. Long ball inside 50. Going back McAvoy. Almost brought in by Bell Chambers. Carlisle intercepted by McAvoy. Hodge. Side of the boot. It'll pitch inside and do as Luke hoped.
It's a very long, low-scoring game, and you can also see why when Essendon went from one back flank to centre-half back, out the other back flank, out the far wing, no one is able to get through the centre corridor. So all the attacks are coming in very wide, very slowly, so both defences are well on top.
Langford hurriedly onto the boot. Close to the boundary line. Heppel deflects it across to Gleeson. Stanton. Hurley. Too slick there for Howlett. Trying to crash his way through Birchall. No way through there. Ball up.
But of course, maybe credit for both teams' defensive system of just making the opposition, of course, go wide. But end result, not much scoring.
Gunston. So much publicity about the domination last week by the Hawks. Well, the scoreboard says 1-3. Well into the second term. Not that Essendon have got much more, of course.
And I think one of the things from that, isn't it, is that sort of that elusive psychology we talk about all the time. If Essendon just got to plant in the Hawthorn's mind that it's not going to go to script. It's not going to go that you're outstanding on Monday, so we're going to be outstanding today. And then maybe Hawthorn might panic a fraction if that can set in as the game works on.
Essendon certainly getting numbers to every contest. They're actually leading tackles this quarter 13-4, so putting Hawthorn under a lot of pressure around the ball.
So Watson now has to deal with Langford. O'Rourke and Melcham together. Heppel becomes a ruckman, knocks it forward. Collier receives. Melcham inside 50. Won't bend back.
The goal they need, they can't get at the moment, the Bombers. 163 to 115 total possessions. Wow. Here's Smith. Giray kicks it short of the wing. In front, Hooker. Hurley takes it across the boundary line.
Yeah, with those total possessions, 82 kicks Essendon and 81 handballs. So all that means is that a lot of their possessions are actually not getting in any kind of penetration, really attacking the ascendancy.
McAvoy could have been interfered with. Runs free behind. Zaharakis. Goddard. That's a good hand pass. Wills. Too slick. Didn't need to be that hard. And speaking of slick, in goes Hill. Tracking the ball. Wilt decides to give Bagley a second chance. Bagley turns around. And again it's going to be Danaher. And this time he hangs on. Well, what Essendon do is play football, these guys. It's in their DNA. And you get the feeling they're relishing being back at their day job.
It's amazing too, if you can actually kick the ball into the 50-metre arc from that central corridor, it just opens up the angles, makes it much harder to defend. A couple of those balls have just dropped pretty much on Danaher's head.
Needs to kick it. Goal umpire goes a long way, but it's good. Bombers get their fourth. He's got his second. And that lead suddenly is out to 18 points. Danaher's looking dangerous down there. A few times he hasn't hung on, but you just get the feeling it's not far away. And now with 2 under his belt, confidence up against a quality defence, but he's not awed in any way. 4-3, 1-3.
New member of the team, old school, Frank the Tank.
Well, we'll go through that, boys. Essendon 5 marks inside 50. Hawthorn yet to have one.
Danaher now working in the middle. Watson, who's made an art form of working in the middle. Quickly it goes. Carlisle has to react quickly. Hawks start to jump on top of him. Lewis goes low. Merritt. Support from Howlett. Roughhead. Suddenly a long way from where he does so much damage. Lou, we spoke last week. 5 losses last year for the Hawks. Each time the team beat them, they had to kick over 100. Now, Essendon started well, but you might be able to do it another way, and that's just stop them from
scoring. Yeah.
Stanton trying to add to the tally. Lake did beautifully. Stopped it, blocked it, and then allowed Hodge a run at the ball. Heppel a fumble. Hawks let off. Might be costly. Smith, how many times have we seen him do this? Bouncing ball, loses control. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 Bombers. Hibberd gives to Howlett. Howlett loses it. Gathers, puts it to space. Hooker, Watson, well, slippery in the middle perhaps.
Really gets a free. Nonchalantly puts it out wide to Lewis. On the move is Bruce. Missed it completely. All Bombers getting back. Hagley, Goddard. Their run and appetite to help is outstanding. Sometimes too many options. Bagley gets it from Heppel. Most unlike him to drop that mark moments ago. Hurley out of defence. From behind, Giray got a fist on it. Lewis took the bounce. Can't be calm that time. The player had an arm each. Just make a wish. Ball comes down towards half forward. Birchall's in the road.
So Birchall's first game of the year. And the Hawks find themselves on the ropes early. 7 scoring shots to 4. It's a 3-goal lead. Burgoyne, so used to being thrown all around the ground. Sent where there is a problem, and suddenly, often there's no longer a problem.
Just can't get any flow. They went through the centre corridor when Isaac Smith looked like he was going to break through, but when he bounced the ball, didn't come back.
Segler, well, this time the height works out. Danaher pushed out. Back to Danaher it goes.
Just not working for Hawthorn, is it? Little things like that. All of a sudden, a shot at goal gets reversed. There's the hands in the back wall.
Well, Danaher looked disappointed with himself. He certainly didn't look like he was expecting a free kick.
I tell you who knew it was a free kick was Hooker, who ran to the wing with nobody near him, and the umpire really, had he been aware of that, should have given 50. Hooker just so in tune with the game. He realised what was happening. He broke to the outer side, but the ball took so much time. He was covered eventually. And now Heppel's got it. That's by the by. From half back, a high ball towards the wing. Stays out of the contest. Essendon's ball. Ambrose. Goddard kicks inside the forward 50. Carlisle couldn't hang on that time. Goes back, fights hard, ball up.
Lee, with Gibson out and Frawley off early, suddenly it's the Hawks back 6 that look a little short.
No, that's right. They've only got Lake. Stratton can play fairly tall, but certainly their second and third defenders, which are now Frawley and Gibson, just are now not there at all.
Well, Hodge quickly. And Smith to a one-on-one. Hibberd, Rioli. Well, rubber the green right now going the way of the Bombers. Heppel to a good spot, safe hands. And suddenly it's Bell Chambers that can go back and kick the Bombers 5th.
Well, that's the ruckman going forward, and ruckman are much better forwards than they are defenders. Segler was his direct opponent. He was in his area, but he's just not able to really cover him. But you're right, Belchambers then against the ruckman middly, but then Danaher and Carlisle, when the ball's coming in quick and high, they're looking very dangerous in the air.
So Belchambers, who was rarely sighted last year, ankle surgery, cruel this season, kicks a major for Essendon. And suddenly it's a 4-goal game at the MCG. The shadows are getting longer, and so too are Hawthorn faces.
They're winning the clearances, Hawthorn, all right, in basic numbers, but they're just not able to maintain possession. And just Essendon, the team that are playing with the kind of energy that you need to back up your actual physical skill level.
Good goal by Belchambers. There was rumours that he'd been injured during the week and that he wasn't going to play, but he's had 9 hit-outs, a couple of kicks and a nice goal there. Contested possession 30-15 this quarter in Essendon's favour, so they're smashing the Hawks in the middle.
Margin out to 24 now. Segler tries to backhand it down. Chapman rushes in. Dragged down as he tried to kick. As a result, defected the kick. O'Rourke's over the ball on his knees. Lewis, to no one in particular, although Giray arrived in time. Burgoyne, little 1-2 with Giray, kicks it inside the forward 50. Rough head, virtually unsighted, didn't get to the contest. Rioli was held. Rioli's going to get a free kick. About 35 metres out. Hughes kicked this one. Hawks just the 1 goal so far. Such a powerful forward line. Been blunted this afternoon, the Hawks, though. It's been in there quite a bit. The Bombers' defence have really performed as a unit so far. Here's Rioli, and this one hangs out to the left, and by his lofty standards, that's a costly miss.
And we talk about you have to kick 100 points to have any chance of beating Hawthorn, but just basic numbers over the last 3 years, Hawthorn averaged 54 points at half-time. So it's been a fantastic defensive effort by Essendon at this point.
Well, Danaher's starting to leap all around the ground, forward, wing, and defensively. Zaharakis, little weighted ball to Heppel, to Hurley, to Stanton. They're working in harmony, these Bombers. Ambrose just nudged out by Lake, couldn't hold the mark, gets the ball now to Cooney. Terrific last week. He's seen Collier out the back, and that delivery is simply superb. Over the top to Chappie, he'll kick his second. Well, the noise around the MCG right now has been turned up a notch. These Bombers fans have had little to cheer about for a long time. It's a home game, it's well attended, and the Bombers have got 6 goals. The Hawks a miserly 1.
And they're now daring to believe, daring to dream that maybe we can beat the mighty Hawthorn, because that's what's on at this point. And he just, the player drifting down the centre corridor, which was Collier to get on the end of it. They just keep getting the ball. They're in quickly, Essendon, and all of a sudden their fans and their players, I think this is a victory's really on here.
Bombers by 29 points. McAvoy. Suckling provides the run. Cocks it, doesn't let it go. Now he kicks inside the forward 50, drifting back. Good juggled mark. Is taken by the reliable Hooker. So Hooker, you can see what's up ahead, not a lot. Everything's covered. He'll kick to a contest. Well, even the contest favours the Essendon team as that ball drifted to Heppel. 15 possessions now for Heppel. Howlett. Short one, Belchambers, playing with so much confidence. Goddard surges past those centre circles. Collier, Will-o'-the-Wisp, takes the mark, wheels around 70 metres from goal, intended for Melcham, knocked away by Bruce, taken down there by the defender. That was O'Rourke. In that case, he gave it to Smith, who kicks in hope. Leeson goes back, gathers, plenty of time. Hurley, the 16th possession, across half back, if you don't mind. He's a key distributor. Now Goddard's got it. Wanting it long is Hibbert. Goddard thinks about it. Takes the short option. Running to the space. Melcham.
Wheels around. driving ball. The height remains there. Carlisle and Danaher, terrific options so far. This time, it's the Hawks that come away with a football. Roughhead, short kick. Birchall. Lee, we spoke about pre-game whether the Bombers would be tied second round. Suddenly it's the Hawks that look slow.
Yeah, they certainly do. Essendon have to still play out the 4 quarters, but at the moment they're just well on top. Got the energy levels, the enthusiasm, all the things that you need to just back up your physical ability.
Well, this time it's Hooker that read it in the air, closed down on Anderson, kicks the ball forward, tough for Danaher.
It's amazing. Expectations are a shocking thing in football, and I think deep down, Hawthorn had such a run the grand final, losing one last Monday so easily. Deep down, might be a bit of expectations it's just going to happen, and clearly it's not today.
Will Chambers, little flick, O'Rourke receives, lost it. Here's a chance for Merritt on the left boot. They've got another, the Bombers. The Bombers have 7. The Hawks just one.
Well, if we were scriptwriters, I think we'd be drawing it up this way, wouldn't we?
Well, you drew it up your way, and I think it's working that way, Dennis. I was thinking the opposite. I just thought Essendon just might be physically, mentally kind of shot, not being ready for last week, fatiguing game, but that's not happening.
Well, the Hawks have got plenty of time to catch up, though, Lee.
Well, anything's possible, we know that, but certainly the way the game's been played at this point, Essendon have been outstanding. It's kept ferreting the ball, hunting the ball, and then eventually the shot at goal. And I guess they're taking their shots now, Essendon. That's the difference. Great little snap by Merritt.
Work rate terrific. Melcham leads back in the race, traps it, tries to feed it out. Heppel put the body in. Got a whistle. So 35 points. Bear in mind, they led by more than this against the Swans, of course, last week. And later, Melcham hacks it forward. Hodge, awkward ball to deal with, and he dealt with it well. Sockers towards the outer side wing. Sicily's got it. That's holding the footing. Apparently not. Ball up. Zaharakis hasn't seen a lot of it. Good player when it gets going. Bill Chambers manhandles his opponent. Falling to the ground, Anderson to Giray.
Tumbling ball, Hibberd, Zaharakis brings it inside. So Bagley now with run decides to head wingward. Marty Gleeson has to wait. A few players have lost their feet in the middle of this wonderful ground. Gleeson did then. Bill Chambers, big leap, no win. Anderson quickly forward. They need one before half-time, the Hawks. Langford receives, decides, just kick. Long, thought about the handball. Now it's Gunson getting thrown to Aaron Bruce. Might get a tap his way. Not quite. Hooker again, the man. Has the calm head, takes it through. Margin, 34 points.
Really been outstanding, and Hooker been very good as well. So the big two defenders for Essendon are well on top.
Merritt takes off around the outer side. Got it from Heppel. Some hesitation. Decides he has to go short. Cooney. Under 3 minutes till half-time. Upset brewing at the MCG. Two arch rivals. Bombers lead by 34. Hibberd wide of the mark. Punches one down towards half forward. Well, Chambers the target. Ambrose was the man in front though. Pushed away there. Socket by Melcham. He's having a very good game. Lake in trouble. Is he tackled high? Brian Lake will get the free. There he is. The man who puts opera into the soap. Short one. Rough head. Suckling. Now Suckling comes out wide. Gunston. The left half-back. The Hawks have been challenged and so far haven't thrown much back at their opponents. Now Anderson with a chance to run.
Can go deep over the top. Couple of Hawks. Just the one Bomber in the front spot, and that was Bagley. Got a paw to it. Piotr. Was he taken high?
Enough of that. Got four. Heavy kick. That's enough. What? You know what you do. There's no need for it.
It was an unusual tackle. That one was a front-on tackle, but again high. Couldn't dispute the decision. There was the high contact, as we say often when you're a short man. Hard not to make high contact when you tackle, but Piopolo gets the advantage of that.
The lone goal scorer this afternoon for Hawthorn. Poppy's got 2. The margin back to 28. Interesting there, the umpire said, you know what you did, as a parent to one of the kids.
Yes, I think it was after the tackle, there might have been a little bit of a push and shove or something on the ground. The two coaches, James Hurd's thinking, how can we keep this going? And Alistair Clarkson saying to himself, don't panic at half time. Make sure we don't further put stress on the plays. Just a method to get back is what Hawthorn are going to need in the second half.
Chapman, Hodge was waiting for him, so the margin is 28 points. And given the nature of this Hawthorn forward line, that's certainly not insurmountable. It can happen very quickly. Umpire will do it again. A late goal to either team would be very handy. Merritt, he's been handy. Stolen away brilliantly. Burgoyne, Suckling, forced to kick with the right boot. Should be an Essendon ball, and it is. Got out on his chest. Just over a minute remaining in the half. Swings it out wide. Bagley drifting back.
Thank you.
The defence has done a terrific job. Short, Stanton. He's seen a lot of it. Dropped the mark that time, though. Pushed across the line by Langford. Stanton, 15 possessions.
It's interesting, a lot of Hawthorn fans think Alistair Clarkson should be going down and yelling at him, snap him back into being really on. But sometimes I think it's more the opposite. Hawthorn players would be just a little bit stressed at the moment. Again, the plan, the expectations pre-game aren't happening.
Like those blokes in the rainforest.
Yeah.
Goes out of bounds.
It's like that. But I mean, it's almost like the opposite. What you have to do is, at half-time, is Hawthorn, they're still going to be in the game, clearly, but to actually try and build the method upon which they have to play the game and not accentuate that sort of slight panic that it's not going according to plan.
The Hawks just one goal scorer. As we close in on half-time, McAvoy wraps up Hibbert. What twists and turns are ahead on a Sunday afternoon at the MCG.
Thanks, guys. Coming straight back here.
Can the Hawks just jag one late and bring a 28-point deficit into something slightly more manageable? Hill, high up and under. Who's there for Hawthorn at the full of the ball? So many Bombers. Here's a chance in terrific hands. Rioli!
Watch him. Eyes up.
Oh, that's big.
Yeah, it just gives them that little bit of hope. They've kicked the last couple of goals, so they've sort of broken the deadlock just a little bit in terms of their scoring. They've only got 3 goals, but it just, when you kick the last couple of goals for half time, it just means you're going to go to the rooms feeling just with a little bit more hope than they had a couple of minutes ago. And it deflates the opposition a bit too. Just deflates Essendon a little bit. They'd worked so hard to get the lead they had. And all of a sudden, the Hawthorn have just clawed back that couple of goals.
McAvoy has shown his strength in the last few minutes. Watson across to Heppel. Literally knees it down towards half forward. Whistle off the ball. There's going to be a Hawthorn free kick. Advantage was paid. Well, no advantage really to Suckling. He went down immediately. He heard the whistle. Stanton gives it to Watson. Watson to Space and Carlisle. Half-time. Clock beats them. Margin is 22 points. Hawthorn with a couple of late goals, and just as well with the Bombers, irresistible at times. A real passion for the afternoon. 7:3:45 to 3:5:23 on a Sunday afternoon at the MCG.
About the middle of last year, so he looks. That looks like it's maybe a nasty injury.
Start of the second half then, maybe half-time came at a good time as far as the Bombers were concerned. The Hawks with the last 2 goals of the first half. On the way down, Bell Chambers. Watson has been very good. Segler runs into a tackle. Taken down by Merritt. And we'll have a ball up. Shadows lengthening across the MCG. Essendon 7-3, Hawthorn 3-5. With the run, Lewis third man up, decisively down to Rioli, slips away through the centre circles, inside the forward 50. Roughhead gave a contest, picked up by Gleeson, hurriedly onto the boot by Hurley. Smith stood his ground, did well. Hodge, Lewis, goes out wide, Roughhead, rarely sighted, forced to spoil that time. Dashing defence from Bagley.
To Merritt and over the top, the Bombers run through the middle of the MCG, gets away from a couple of Hawks. Tumbling ball, Lake. He couldn't have believed his luck. He was under pressure and without a man, and the ball was kicked directly to him. Segler, Burgoyne. Well, a fumble from Anderson. Bell-Chambers, clever, industrious. Stanton, back he goes to Bell-Chambers. They retreat, but they keep hold of the football. Gleeson, Howlett, ignores Watson, sees a man with space, and it's a man who you're happy to see the ball in the hands of. So Goddard, penetrating ball, tall timber chosen again. Carlisle! Umpire has...
Didn't control it. No. Good contest, thanks.
He might have hit the ground on the way down is what the umpire's call was, one would think.
Need more umpires, Lee.
No, that would have been a tough one for any umpire in any position.
Line, pin straight away.
What happens, Lee? The Dons pre-season...
Imagine if he just couldn't quite control. Yeah, bounced on the way down.
122 points then. With the spot fire here for Hawthorn to deal with. Birchall. That kick is wayward though, so it'll go out of bounds on the full.
He's going to get it. He raced to get it, Dennis. He raced to get it.
You cross here, Travis Collier.
Yes, the umpire though.
Not allowing that.
Is he calling Collier across to take the kick? Yes.
I think so.
That was his kick.
Collier. A bit sheepish because seniority doesn't match up, but he's got the kick.
You'd back Eddie Betts from me. I mean, that ability of players to curl the ball left to right, but he's just going the conventional drop punt.
Oh, Eddie Betts, eats your heart out.
That was it.
What a terrific kick by Collier. He was the man. The umpire played a part.
Nothing like the conventional method. One thing about the MCG, it's a very round ground. So therefore, when you are deep in the forward pocket, there's always plenty of goal face that's actually open. But nevertheless, that had to be a really, really straight drop punt from actually outside the boundary line when he kicked it. So that's a superb finish. It's a great angle. That's a beautiful kick. That is a beautiful finish. Well, that's really a great momentum builder again for Essendon to just take the first chance.
So Collier draws first blood in this second half. Fascinating now, Lee, the equation. The Dons with such an interrupted pre-season, the Hawks with that ability to score and score fast. What an hour ahead. Lewis, tumbling ball. Gwilt, well, he was in the right spot. The ball was unkind. Rioli, now Gunston. Can they answer quickly? Well done, Jack. Just like that.
Yes, that was really important from Hawthorn's point of view. I mean, the whole game hasn't gone according to script. We're speaking about that most of the first half. The script that really was the general expectation of the game. So every Hawthorn just have to be trying to nip away at the heels of Essendon and hope, in a sense, that Essendon might fade a little bit as the game goes on. It's good news when Gunston, he gets a look at an open goal, Gunston. That's piece of cake for him.
51 plays 29 then. Well, they're going third term. Bell-Chambers wins it down. Segler. Oh, Anderson not having a very good start to the term. Merritt gets a free. Lays on immediately. Hibbert, who can kick it away. Some indecision. Eventually lets fire. Back inside the defensive 50 goes Lake, and he takes the mark. Thinks about giving it off. Decides against that. Looks across the ground. They've got 2-on-1 out there. Suckling And Rioli is clear. He was the second. It'll bounce to him. Gathers on the wing, looks down towards half forward, just pops it up. Gunston comes to it. He's about 75 metres from home. Long ball down towards full forward. Puopolo won't get a run. Roughhead got hands to it. Spills across towards the pocket. Opportunity now for Anderson. Dragged down. Hibbert. Merritt. Nicely worked. Howlett needs to be careful. Stubs it forward.
Well, Heppel's got a problem too. Gunson kicked the last. Can he kick back-to-back goals? He's a sharp shooter. It's not going to have the accuracy. In fact, now it's just a bouncing ugly ball for Hooker. It skips through for a minor score. Back to 21. Margin at half-time was 22.
Yeah, well, I don't think it's going to work for Hawthorn, hanging the ball in the air deep forward, because that's where Hurley and Hooker are well on top in the aerial contest. They're going to have to try and work the ball through to kick what is probably they need for just part of 10 goals from now on.
Goddard surging through midfield. Zaharakis alongside. Kicks inside the 50. Danaher controls it. Couldn't take the mark though. And harassed out of it. The ball goes out of bounds. Just checking that stat I gave you. Hawthorn without Mitchell and Gibson under Alistair Clarkson. 1 win from 5 under Brendan Bolton. 5 straight. Interesting. Mind you, they're quality players. Depends on the opposition a little bit too. Melcher tied up and the umpire will toss it up 55 metres out. From Essendon's attacking goal. Game now on a knife's edge. Heppel has been terrific. Dumps it forward. Collier got a standing start from this pocket. Run down this time though. Forced a hand pass with the outside of the boot. Lake sends it to the outer side. Good use of the body. Gleeson on his chest.
Melcham backs himself quickly. Long ball. Carlisle, Chapman both lurk ominously. Well done, Lake. How often have we seen it?
Langford, I thought he was just standing there. He didn't go out of his way.
So premature speculation from Bombers fans. Lake looking for Brown and goal. And right now it is an intriguing battle. 8-3, 4-6, 51 plays 30.
All very civil though, wasn't it? Little chat.
Nice discord.
Exchange of views.
Danaher and Segler. Segler taps it down. Smith. Heppel. He's a good player, Heppel. Ball up.
That subtle sort of shepherding and blocking to enable your teammate to fly unopposed. It happens. It's very hard for the umpires to pick it up. You almost have to watch it on replay a few times to even see what happens.
Heppel was third man up. Knocked it straight to Lewis. Hurley. Hibbert. Collier kept his head. Hurley. Well, Hibbert slipped as you saw in the background. Now bruised on the burst. Across to Rioli. Little U-turn. Got himself out of trouble. Sicily. Bruised. Now O'Rourke looks inside the forward 50. Not a great kick. Leading back is Gunston. Bounds favoured Gwilt. Gunston and Gwilt must be a free kick to the Hawk.
Straight up, James. Let it go. Jack,
So Gunston.
Jack, come with me. Jack.
Being straightened up here. Not beyond him this one.
You know, anywhere inside 50, he's such a straight, accurate kick. The pressure is on him because the scoreboard has been against Hawthorn. But if ever you wanted the ball in a player's hands with a set shot at goal, I think Gunston's as good as any.
Grew up barracking for the Bombers. His footy hero was Matthew Lloyd. Just the one goal last week, and since we've been talking about his accuracy, he's become decidedly inaccurate. I think he was kicking that one to the top of the square, maybe. And it's going to be Danaher's ball. Danaher having a good game around the ground and on the forward line. And the height from a number of their players who served the Bombers well. The short one to the pocket, Chapman.
Well, Chappie last year spent 72% of his time forward. This afternoon he'll be required to be all around the ground, trying to protect this lead. Heppel. Ambrose sets himself. In the end, Brian Lake gains some territory. Just 12 goals for the afternoon today. 10 gone, third term. The Bombers scoreless after the 19-minute mark of the third term last week. How does this all play out? Collier, Watson, well done. Now a long ball in hope. A couple of Hawks will get there first. Well, no, the ball's heading the Stratton direction. 3 Hawks. They raffle it about. Hodge loses it. Now it suddenly gets a little urgent. Carlisle tried to toe poke through. Lake gets sat on. Umpire still lets it play. Little tap, clever from Merritt. Watson on the up. Zaharakis. Inside it goes. Bouncing ball taken well. Melksham had it initially. Paddles it forward. Hodge chases. Melksham. Stanton. Bouncing ball now for Goddard. Now he's just going to arch his back and trying to get away from the tackler in Langford. Merritt ends up with a football. Birchall tackles. O'Rourke. Smith. And the Hawks out of jail. And suddenly in good hands again.
Roost goes wide. Gunston. Or is it Segler? Segler's got it. Puopolo looks inside the forward 50. Gunston, who is leading up the ground, goes back, gives a contest, couldn't take the mark. Missed by Bruce. He covered a lot of ground, had it at half-back just a moment ago. Gunston is tackled, had it a long time, taken a full rotation down there. Back comes Hooker, the man who was doing the rotating. In goes Heppel, still a live ball. Puopolo gave it to Rioli. Head down by Bruce. How about that for power packed? Gathered by Hurley, kicks to the outer side. And Stratton diffuses the whole thing, gets a hand in there and knocks it out of bounds. And there's bad news.
Right, you see Brendan Goddard coming off here. That sling tackle hit to the ground. He's actually hurt his ankle or his lower leg. He can't put any weight on it.
Well, how can you not fall in love with this game? Zaharakis out of side. Third bounce.
Go all the way.
Contemplates a fourth. Gives it inboard to Melksham. Pulls his kick, looking for Carlisle. Well weighted. Perfect, perfect, perfect.
You're going to come behind your line, mate.
Well, that was outstanding defence by Hawthorn about a minute ago. But then from that back, that forward 50 for Hawthorn, the defensive intensity and the defensive effort from Essendon was fantastic. Then the surge out of the back 50. That's what the Essendon have done today. A bit better than Hawthorn. A few more ball carriers that can surge through the middle of the ground.
15 seconds gone.
15 gone, Jake. 15.
One straight for the afternoon.
Right, Brian.
Bombers cheer squad behind the goals.
Giray, long one to a contest on the other side. Lake, close to the boundary, running out of space. They wrestle. Lake, happy to fight a draw. Involuntary possession, then he sits on it. The umpire will ball it up, right beside the boundary line. This doesn't look too good.
Watch for the tap out on the full, Nick.
That right leg getting trapped there. McAvoy, Bell Chambers trying to shark it. That's a little more than knock it out of bounds. So boundary throw in. Margin was 22 at half time. Essendon sticking to their guns. Sensing they've got a real chance here. Hopefully for their supporters and themselves. Learned from last week. Here's Cooney in trouble. But they're playing the best at the moment. So a lot to savour. Boundary throw in. A real tug of war. Got out again.
Hopefully it didn't get stuck too much, so they might strap it up. You might see him back Goddard before too long. That's what Essendon would hope.
So many strong tackles today. Players almost helpless on the way down. That was a little different. Here's Hodge getting a free kick.
Well, dangerous ball. Works out
Joe,
well.
hold
Sucked
there.
it.
Joe, hold there.
Hodge so much a captain, but also almost a coach. The long roost, the torpedo inside 50, bounces back out, and Hurley can mop up. Terrific handball over the top for Cooney. Would be a kind bounce, it is. Looping handball again. Watson waits. Anderson saw him float on by. Cooney a little fumble, can use Heppel. Ignores him initially. Now Howlett, he gets it to Heppel. Back inside, Ambrose retreats out of side. Desperate play now.
Good news for Essendon fans down here. Brendan Goddard's back down, running the boundary. He looks okay.
That's good news. Bill Chambers. Watson on the way down. Melcham had a very good game. This one floats inside the 50. Lake intent on destruction from the back. Hill untidy. McAvoy. Suckling. Now Hill again. Through midfield. O'Rourke sends them down towards half forward. Bouncing footy. Awkward down there. Puopolo. Stayed on his feet. Cecily. Giray. Knew where the help was. Cruising past is Anderson. Anderson inside the forward 50. Getting it on the ground. Bruce from behind. Swerping on it. Hurley. He's been almost impassable. That kick not so good. Lewis gives a hand pass across to Hodge. Little shimmy Hodge. Goes for distance. Winding back the clock. Luke Hodge on the goal line. Stanton.
He's been good, Hurley, hasn't he? I just think he's been outstanding all day. Roughhead's been his opponent much of the day, but he has just continually held up the Hawthorn attacks.
Margin 22 at the long break. 21 now. Suckling. Little give. Tough in the end. O'Rourke goes and searches for the football, but again the Bombers have numbers. Zaharakis, Carlisle. He was chosen in the end. Desperate stuff from the big man in McAvoy. Did a good job. Burgoyne over the top to Giray. Now to Hodge, was kicking a goal moments ago. Now he's setting up the next. Puopolo got a couple for the afternoon. Dishes it off. Hill goes searching. Well, play on the call. Gunston got Hibberd to deal with. A game of inches. 3 more and Gunston's lining up for goal. Right now, it's Hibberd. Punching it back. Roughhead quiet this afternoon. Back inside 50 he goes. Back to Gunston.
Okay, we talked about his accuracy.
Oh, that looked a bit worse than Goddard, so we'll see what transpires. But that looked nasty. Maybe it just didn't twist as much as it was initially. It just pulled clear of the body falling on it.
So like Goddard, the right ankle. Meantime, back of the game. Huge kick this one. Gunston nails it. Finds range at just the right moment. A sense of occasion. 37 plays 52. All about surging it forward and finding a man open, and that time they did. Roughhead. He's the genie in the bottle, really. If he gets out late in the game, it'll be tough for the Bombers, but generally their defence has just been stellar.
Beautiful kicking action. He always drops the ball well. Half the thing with the kicking action is the taut instep, but the ability to drop the ball consistently and not let it wobble on the way down. Gunston does that beautifully.
So 4 of the last 5 goals to Hawthorn. Gunston the last 2. Puopolo, he's got a couple of himself this afternoon from 55. How's the carry? It's offline. Well, Gunston, an opportunity to make it 3 in a row personally. And 5 of the last 6 for the Hawks. A 35-point margin right now is 15. This to get it back to single figures.
Come back on. James, with me, James. James, you line with me. Thank you. Play on.
And 9 it is. 3 for Gunston on the bounce.
One of the things I think is just amazingly good about the modern football athlete is their ability to curve the ball in the air off the outside of the foot to curve it. Pretty much say left to right for a right footer. But that ability, if you get a set shot now with a man on the marks near the point post, that ability to just take a couple of steps in and just curl it across the body as Gunston did then, they make it look easy. It makes what used to be a really difficult shot into one quite simple. Let's have a look at this. Beautiful just control to mark, but then when he actually came in on one step, kicked the ball across his body, made. So now the pressure is back on Essendon.
Roughhead doing some rucking as well. Won the tap. Stanton charges in. Burgoyne got him down. Roughhead goes off the ground towards half forward Langford. Gave a hand pass to Segler. Slapped away by Hebbert. The pressure is coming now. Anderson went down. In goes Merritt. Been a good player. Stumbling Rioli. Kept looking though. Saw Giray. Brilliant smother there by Ambrose. Slapped down by Anderson. They'll try again. Burgoyne to Roughhead. Inside the forward 50, and Sicily gets on the end of it. About 40 metres out.
There's a few things you can do with Jared Roughhead, as we know. You can play him forward, you can play him ground level, centre square, which they do enough. If you need to, you can just let him be the round-the-ground ruckman, because he can compete okay in the air, but then he becomes virtually an extra midfield runner.
The second kick started as the sub. Came in for James Frawley. As I mentioned, saw him in the Nat Challenge. He looks a player. This kick is on the way. Hey, he is a player. Big time goal. His first. And they come to him. And suddenly momentum has really shifted. The Bombers getting a reality check.
Yes, this is when those little mental demons jump in. As we know, Essendon last year, it was in the last quarter when the Swans kicked 7-6 to nil. So all of a sudden, can they fight off that mental demons that, gee, we just haven't got the legs to hold off the Hawthorn. Just really important next few minutes, even before we get to the final term.
So the Hawks, they close a 35-point margin to just 3 points. 3 goals from the last 13 disposals. Gunston has 3 goals, Sicily 1, and they've got the last 4. 6 of the last 7. Little tap from Hill meant for Rioli. Didn't find him. Hibbert. Well done to Watson. Inboard to Heppel. They didn't score from the 19-minute mark of last week's game. 22 gone in the third. Can they score here, the Bombers? Burgoyne could have marked. Chose to fist away.
Ashby, the sub, warming up down here. I'm not sure who's coming off.
Always a great thrill. Always a great thrill. That first game, first goal. Wasn't his first kick, but certainly a great finish under pressure.
Anderson to Hill after Segler's earlier good work. Lewis goes around the outer side. Wilt had a contest. Hunters up again. Puopolo the meat in the sandwich. Gunston holding the footy. Great chase by Goddard. Watson takes advantage. Heppel, well, sold into trouble on his left foot. Puopolo kept going. Brilliant pick-up by Giray. Takes off. He's running away from Watson. On the outer side, wing to half forward. Not a particularly good kick either. Hibbert wins a free. Comes short, the hooker. Hurt the umpire. Jabs it towards Gwilt. They need to be careful here. Gwilt timed the release perfectly. Bagley, bit of a fumble. Zaharakis. Quick hands away to Hurley. Hurley lowers the eyes and finds Melksham. One of his finest games for the Bombers. Board of the wing. That kick just gets there. Bell Chambers 60 metres out. Drifting back to the square is Danaher. Then he offers a lead and takes the mark. Good thinking, quick thinking. And they're a very worried defence in that situation. Simon Madden just showing how it should be done.
And Paul Salmon there next to him, but he can't push body to body, Danaher, at this point of his career. He's just not strong enough. But if he gets a chance to actually leap at the ball with no defender pushing against him, he's got a very high leap, very high extension of the arms. But that eventually he will take contested marks as well.
And he puts it through. Well done, he's got 3. And what a timely one that was. It was slipping away. They wrenched it back.
So much expectation, and he delivers what the Bombers fans were hoping he would. Matty Lloyd, as Lee said, has been working with Danaher. In Joe's words, they haven't stripped it back, they've just tinkered, and he's a confident goal kicker now. What a time to deliver. 4 minutes left in the third. Margin back to 9.
Good goal by Joe Danaher. The 84-85 reunion, premiership reunion for the Bombers is on today, so he's got the whole family here watching. Ashby's on now. Hallett's the sub.
Bill Chambers, Segler, they do their work. Hodge and Watson do what they're both brilliant at in the middle of this ground. Birchall Well done Suckling then. Got it to Burgoyne, who somehow got it back to Birchall. Segler become influential for the Hawks. Ball goes forward this time by Stratton. Wasn't taken. Sicily watches on. Kicked his first goal of his career as Rioli tries to pick himself up. Tired, exhausted, but still so dangerous. Rioli tries to work himself into a dangerous spot. Watson knew where the ball was going to be. McAvoy, Carlisle, two big men. McAvoy wins the battle. Lake on the left. Gunston on more of the football in this term than any other Hawk. Little paddle. Sicily. Heppel ensures he goes nowhere. Ball though finds a way out. Burgoyne stretches and streaks away from Gleeson. Hot spot now for the Hawks. Here's Puopolo. Wants a third. Won't get it.
It's interesting in the back 50. McAvoy at the moment looks like he's playing defence on Carlisle. That's going to test his agility down there.
Boundary throw in. Beside the behind post. The two number twos. Well, Chambers and Roughhead. Well, they work in tandem. Roughhead smothered off the boot though. Lewis did well. Anderson just out of sorts at the moment. Rolls across to Birchall. Dances around on the numbers and centres. And finds Bruce. With ball in hand, he is so dangerous, Grant Birchall. It's so important. And Bruce, like many of those forwards, well held today. A real opportunity here. The margin 9 points. This to pull it under a goal. Luke Bruce, whose start on this ground last Monday, hangs it out to the right. 6 days is a long time in football.
57-12 last year, so accurate. Accuracy required then. Bruce unable to deliver. So Goddard, ankle injured earlier, still on the ground, obviously. Hooker knocked out of it. Zaharakis read it well. Collier misses him. Lake held up by Collier. The ball now in dispute. Slap to Hill. He'll back himself with pace. He'll take on Zaharakis. Takes a bounce. Zaharakis up to the task, up to the challenge.
Just had the hand on the jump, and that was enough to make it an automatic free kick. When he bounced it again here, just got the hand on it. Great timing.
It's a great effort, isn't it? All or nothing, really. Misses it. And Hill can run another 30 metres or so and do much as he liked. Here's Hooker. He's been one of a resolute defence. But they're being tested. Whoops.
You got to go off. You got blood rule, okay? Yeah, you got to go off. It's pouring out of your knee. Got blood rule, Essendon. Just wait, Brendan. Wait for my call.
So it's a long and lonely run here. As Hooker leaves the ground, it's not really incumbent. He has to race off.
No, you can jerk off with the blood rule and allow your team to. It's emergency umpire will normally send on the replacement, which he has. Hibbert's just jogged on and met him about halfway off.
Having said that, it's not the ideal spot for the team, his team, with the footy, is it?
No.
Sort of in the back pocket. And Hawthorn a lot of time to set up. Goddard changes everything, and still Merritt finds space. Amazing. Merritt really liked his game. His ability to put pressure on has been outstanding, and that kick, dare I say it, was centimetre perfect. Chose the skinny side and found Hibbert a metre in from the boundary. 9-4 Essendon, 7-8 Hawthorn. High ball to half forward.
Well, suddenly Bill Ambrose without an opponent. Smother important from Hodge. Chapman back to Ambrose, didn't find him. Duray.
Oh, that's a big call, isn't it?
It's a big call. Hawthorn right.
Second action, Luke. Straight away, Grant. Here.
Oh, they fell on him. That's fair enough.
Well, two tough Warriors. Chapman driving long out the back late, got a fist onto it, spills to Stanton, kick, smothered. Stratton quickly away. Players wait in the end. It's Ashby who's just come on, left it behind. Collier tries to get clear. Well done to Bell Chambers. Back it goes to Zaharakis. Too hot for Heppel in the middle of the ground. Gwilt waits, retreats, back to Bagley, and back it goes to Hurley. They've lost 50 metres. They've kept possession of the football.
36 seconds remaining in the term. Hurley to Gwilt. They need precision here. Short one. On the move, it's taken by Ashby. Ashby, the sub, unloads then. Can they take a mark? Not there. Roughhead, uncontested. So the danger is past. Still, it might be time now for the Hawks. Hodge finds himself unattended. Centre half back. Over the head of Hill. Knocks it forward. Ashby came strongly. Gleeson, Chapman, Ashby. 3 seconds remain. With a kick in the mark. Not time. Three-quarter time. How about that? Hawthorn really coming at the Bombers, and the Bombers on the ropes. We said half-time may have come at a good time for Essendon. Well, three-quarter time certainly did. 9-4-7-8, margin 8 points. It was 22 at half-time. It's been eroded. James Hird with plenty on his mind. Stick around. It's
of time they've been in their attacking area.
So the Bombers lead it by 8, 58-50. Start of the final quarter, with so much to play for. Roughhead doesn't leave the ground. Bell Chambers did. Got it on the way down. Socket forward by Melksham. Gathered by Chapman. Tackled immediately and wrestled down by Roughhead. Both the subs are on. Third man up is Lewis. Melksham a half chance. Heppel, who's been terrific. Hurried kick down towards the 50. Shinned away there by Lake. Wide. Hill pushed it in front. Could have been held without it. Doesn't matter now. We'll have a ball up.
Now that should be a good matchup for Essendon. Virtually the ruckman McAvoy's been forced to play fullback on Carlisle. So if they get the ball one out there in movement, should be for Carlisle.
Quick hands by Watson. Heppel's kick goes down towards the 50. Sicily, nicely done. Out number 3-1. Wins the contest and puts the ball to space.
Hurley will get there first. Just a toe poke. Made a bit of a meal of it. Langford. Clean pickup around the corner. Now Rioli and Hibbert. Hibbert will get there first. Short kick. Decisive to Merritt. Back inside. Heppel over the top. And they've got some run now. The sub Ashby. Back to Watson. Watson over the top, a man that's found space all afternoon in Melksham. Well, he's found a man with space again in Bell Chambers. You'd think just too far out. He knows it. He goes again to where Danaher lurks. Big fly, couldn't take it. Hands all over the football. Stratton lost it. Zaharakis to Heppel. The tackle comes from Anderson. Ball dislodged. Now Lake's got to be clean. Ambrose putting the pressure on. Burgoyne. Goddard. A pair of nines. Burgoyne ends up with the football. Back inside he comes. Stratton now to the outer side. Again a one-on-one. Hurley has the muscle. Does he control it down? He does enough. Brings it to ground. Now some reinforcement comes. This time it's Heppel. Melksham received from Ashby. Man under pressure underneath it all. Watson. Roughhead watches on. Might end up with it. Does. To Hodge. Quick kick. Neat kick. Rioli over the top. He's got numbers left and right.
There's trouble. Rioli. Puopolo has to wait for the bouncing ball. Back to Rioli. Accelerates brilliantly. Then fumbles. It helped him actually. Gets around Hibbert. Goes to the goal square. Hill had continued his run. He was one of the three guys surging through the middle, and he kicks the goal from point-blank range.
Yes, when they came through the centre, I mentioned earlier that that's one of the few times that Hawthorn have been able to run through the centre corridor. It just opens up your attacking 50. They've been forced wide by Essendon and their own ball, slow ball movement for most of the game. But as soon as Rioli had just that bit of space in the forward 50, I think you thought this was going to be bad news for Essendon, and it was. They had the extra numbers, Hawthorn. As long as they didn't mess it up, they always had that extra number to support it. But really, just a bit of magic by Rioli. That lightness on the feet, that quickness, that agility, just creates the goal.
Never an ounce of panic from Rioli. Hawks 7 of the last 9. 35 points has been whittled down to just 2. They look dangerous again here. Puopolo suddenly a target forward of the ball. Smith read it well. Hurley, he stood up beautifully all afternoon.
Yeah, he has been good, Hurley, but I think they're going to be under pressure now, the Bombers' defence. I just think when the run away from congestion is now, Hawthorn seem to have more energy to be able to run into space that bit better.
Heppel. More in hope than anything else. A couple of one-on-ones on the outer side. McAvoy patted it down, also did the roving work. Then the follow-up, tremendous again. Quick handball, this time from Segler. Burgoyne receives. Now to Bruce, measures things up. Bruce is offline. We've got a 1-point ball game at the G on a Sunday afternoon.
Hawthorn getting right on top now. Wilt. Backs to the wall for the Bombers. In front, Hooker, almost the mark, follows up, takes it back inside the defensive 50, then misses the target. Rioli, brilliant stuff. Hand pass from Lewis, comes across to Puopolo, and he's tied the scores. 58 apiece. It's inevitable, you feel now.
As long as Hawthorn don't think it's inevitable. I think that's been they've had a lazy emotional day, Dennis, as you kind of tended to forecast pre-game. So I think it's all that Essendon are just going to automatically fade. That's their main Achilles heel at this point, I would have thought.
Neither of us are qualified, but a lot of analysing today, haven't we? Just lie on the couch there.
Free kick, Weston.
It's a throw. Michael.
Yeah, I think he just wasn't a hit, it was a scoop. Scoop is a throw.
So how many twists and turns do we have left? Hawks fans thought they were in front for the first time in a long time. Not to be the case. Still, the game has no leader. Segler driving the ball forward. Roughhead, a quiet day. He's been around, but never quite in the right spot.
Yeah, he's done his little bits, but he's certainly the big defenders, both Cale Hooker and Michael Hurley, have been really, really good for Essendon.
Hooker looking frustrated. Carlisle, he's been around the place all afternoon.
Good hard lead, that one. Help the defender out. Here's Heppel. Looks to the middle. Measures the kick. Too far though. Melksham. Now a real chance. Sicily gave it to Lewis, to Langford. O'Rourke through midfield. Now Smith hesitates. Hodge goes with the right foot. This for the lead. No. Terrific stuff by Hooker. Had it moments ago on the boundary, and that time stretching every sinew to take that mark right on the line. This is pulsating stuff now. Essendon. The short one comes across from Carlisle. Ashby releases a teammate there in Cooney. Now Stanton. It wasn't 15 to Cooney. Drives it up towards the wing. How is that for coolness? Backhanded down by Lake. Got it back from Birchall. High ball, Segler. Made to earn it. But it's his ball on the wing.
Lewis sweeps the ball back inside. Birchall. Out the back, Gunston. Hooker not quite. Gunston, a slap to space. Hurley, he'll get there first. Can he take it cleanly? A little fumble. Gunston, Bagley first to the ball. But Bagley will hold Gunston in. And now it is 15 metres out from a Hawthorn lead.
I mentioned a bit of a different umpiring configuration pre-game, but I think the umpires his first couple of rounds have been really good. Just got a great feel for the way the game should be umpired, I think, at this point.
Bagley tries to burst his way through, ends up with Bruce, left boot, Hawks in front by that single goal. We saw, Lee, in the build-up to this match, what extraordinary wins the Bombers have been able to produce in the last couple of years. I know they're down by a goal, I know momentum was with Hawthorn, but you've got used to expecting the unexpected with this lot.
Well, I think the thing is your legs, you know, there's a saying that fatigue makes cowards of us all, but if your legs don't carry you, it's very hard to run out of game, and Essendon have that look again today. I don't see any mental weakness with Essendon and why they're fading again. It's just the fact that the legs, just the match hardness when they've had such a soft march leading into the opening round. It's a tough ask to play 4 strong quarters against good teams.
Lee, Mark Harvey mentioned that they had to get on top in the middle there.
Yeah.
8 inside 50s to 1 this quarter, so unless they start getting their hands on the ball, it's going to be a Hawthorn win.
Hawthorn's first lead in 90 minutes. Segler and Danaher. One done by Segler. Well done. Hodge kicks towards half forward. Here's Sicily. Goes back. O'Rourke swings it to Anderson. Segler again. Nice dummy. Kicks inside the forward 50. And the mark is taken down there by Bagley. Just get the feeling if Hawthorn get the next. It's hard to imagine Essendon, who are on the ropes, could win the game from there. That's not to say they can't, but it would be something special. Here's Heppel, who's been special. In trouble, though, and outnumbered. Spills wide. Goddard took one for his teammate. The hand pass from Hooker. Knocked back in his direction. He has to go again. Hooker, a hand pass towards the boundary. Here comes Lewis. Gets around Merritt. Merritt goes again, but not before Stratton got the hand pass away. Well done, Ambrose. Came in, pushed the man off the footy. That was Hodge. How's that for a massive humanity?
Dennis, at half-time, we spoke to Brendan Goddard, and he said if they started to get on top, he'd put himself behind the ball. He went from a forward behind the ball for the last few minutes. Now he's working up at the back of this stoppage.
There's a match fact. Essendon given up 30-point leads in each of their last 4 games. They led by 35 this afternoon. They trailed by 6.
Clearly, that's the last 2 of last year. So we're not talking this year when they're just basically just not match hardened at this point in time.
One entity that's smiling right now is the pre-season competition. Suddenly it shows how important those matches are. The Bombers, so many of them without any pre-season games. Suckling on that left boot. Tumbling ball. Ugly for all forwards. Tough for Sicily. Floated through hands. In the end, Gleeson found Gwilt. Back it goes to Goddard. Roughhead, the tackler, got away with it. Got it to Hurley in good time. To Merritt. Just the 15. O'Rourke was anticipating. It was sheepdogging Merritt.
Merritt drives it to the outer side. This could be interesting. Collier with a runner alongside Bagley. Well done by Hill. Covered Bagley. So the ball comes back into the corridor, and Goddard's got it. 6 points the margin. Hawthorn on top. Goddard. Bagley. Just forward of half back. Not much movement now. Some tired players from both clubs. Momentum, though, with the Hawks. Here's Collier. Kicked a wonderful goal earlier today. Merritt. Young legs. Hard against the boundary. But up ahead, nothing. No one's even in a jog. And that's what happens sometimes. Someone has to come and give something. Lake has taken the mark.
I saw Joe Dan Lee going to stand on the mark. He looks a tired man.
Yeah, when you look at the numbers to the contest, Hawthorn are getting him there now.
A little bit of genius volleyball stuff to Hodge, and now Burgoyne. He looks forward, and Roughhead hasn't got a major this afternoon. This to send it to a 2-goal lead.
And again, they harbored the centre corridor. They were able to swing the ball back inside. This is what Hawthorn has started to do as the game's gone on. They've been able to actually attack down the middle of the ground a little bit more, and therefore enable their forwards to get into the right place to receive.
The umpire shuffles just a little. It's a major. Ruffy's first. Hawks lead by 2 goals, and the task ahead for the Bombers suddenly daunting.
It's not that it's a big margin, but we saw going forward the last time Essendon with no run now. They're on their knees. Roughhead so well held for the best part of the day, getting free. Number 2 pick in the 04 draft, 3 last Monday.
He's kicked this goal, Roughhead, but he's going to do the centre bounce ruck work. You get a ruckman like Roughhead, it speeds up your whole team, because comparative to the opposition ruckman, now you've got a runner, an extra runner.
Kearney, strong tackle on Lewis. Lingered too long, though. And Lewis gets the free. 9 of the last 10 goals for the Hawks. Lewis again drives them forward. You saw those inside 50s a month or 2 ago. Just insurmountable down. Melksham out of defence. Bounces it out towards the wing. Ambrose can't go with Stratton. Hill's got it now. Looks inside the forward 50. Going back with courage down there was Bagley. Fisted away by Ashby. Taken by Stanton. Goes to Merritt. Merritt spilt on the outer side by Ambrose. The presence of mind, though, to give it to Hibberd. That's a nice kick to Hibberd. Goddard needs to get it over the top. McAvoy comes at him like a raging bull and passes it back. Merritt looks inside. Heppel with courage. I think it's a free kick, not a mark. Heppel knew someone was coming, and the someone that was coming's a hard doer. This kick goes down towards the 50. Carlisle's got it. Can they rally? Can they find something? Danaher, no, not that way. There's going to be a free kick, I think. Lake may have marked it between his knees. He's paid a price. Slow to get up, Brian Lake.
Time's been blown.
Just got the front position. He had the body strength. He wanted to jump over the top of him, Danaher, but Lake got the best position.
Suddenly the Hawks looking like the Bombers did at the start of the match. The pace from Hill on the outer side. Looks like the Hawks have got things under control for now, but there's still time for the Bombers if they're going to produce one of the more remarkable wins the club has been involved in. James Hurd's been involved in a few of those as a player and as a coach. Rioli paddles it to Burgoyne. Back it goes to Hill. Hawks all over the outer side of this ground. Segler, he was caught behind.
Essendon.
And the Bombers are on tired legs. They've played with huge heart for 2 seasons, but right now they're in arrears. A couple of goals, Hawks in front.
Stanton got it from Ashby. This is Goddard. Beckons, then kicks. It's a little decoy. Bell Chambers. Bagley pushing up from the back. On the move. Mark is taken by Danaher. Wheels and goes. Hangs in the air for a long time. McAvoy came. Fisted away by Stratton. Loose ball at the back. Out of midair. Wide of the mark by Chapman. And a behind. Well, it's a bitter pill if they were to lose this, their supporters, 2 weeks in a row. In fact, as we showed you, the last 4 of their games dating back to last year. But there's a lot to like about this team. A big upside.
It's taken 2 very good teams to probably beat them, hasn't it, Dennis? So they've, even on a very soft preparation, they've been really more than competitive for most of the games.
Well, on fresh legs, they've showed they can match it with the grand finalists from last year.
Absolutely.
Roughhead, he kicked the last for the Hawks. 3 goals to 0 in this last term. Watson sweeps the ball to Bagley. Gwilt has a paddock around him on the wing. He can amble through it, decides to kick. Danaher back inside to Watson, who's continued to run. Tumbling ball. Out the back, Carlisle. He's been marking all day. Chapman, can he conjure something remarkable? Cooney has it knocked away by a man who's become good at knocking the ball away.
Margin is 10 points then. They're still driving on, Essendon, against the yardstick of the competition. Last kick coming in from Suckling to Lewis. Lewis, his 27th possession coming up. Just jabs it out wide. Stratton, still plenty of time. If they could come back and win this, it would have probably been as good a victory as they've had in the last couple of decades at least. Opportunity for Smith. A lot of work to be done by the Bombers. Still, from behind, it's Carlisle with a fist on that one. Out of these sort of situations comes greatness, and they're working at it still. They will not give up. Chopped off by Duray. Slick hands to Lewis. He could punish them on the way back. He does. Bruce into an open goal, and that could end it. That could put down the Defiance. And they did that a couple of times last week to the Cats as well. They are the best when they get a turnover at taking it back and really exacting full toll. Roost well held like most of their forwards, but when it counted, they've got off the leash.
got a great ability, the Hawthorn forwards, to work out when they're going to get the ball upfield and just stay back in space. I guess you could say he cheated a little bit, Bruce, just didn't go upfield, but the good forwards tend to be able to read the play upfield, and if they can win possession of their team, then they're ready to be used.
No score last week in the final term for this courageous Bombers outfit. A couple of behinds only. Can Cooney be involved in a major now? Collier, Zaharakis. Well, again, it's the man that's been chosen all afternoon. Danaher, he slipped, and Carlisle, who's been marking the ball all over the ground, has an opportunity to bring it back to 10 points, 6 minutes and change on the clock.
As he got clear, he's been matched up a little bit in the second half by the ruckman McAvoy, but just at the moment with the numbers in the Essendon forward line of height, McAvoy's been relieved of those duties at the moment.
For the first goal in a final term in the opening rounds, he's put it through Jake Carlisle. There's still a pulse. Is something unlikely on the cards? There's a sense of the inevitability with this game, but there is still this extraordinary belief amongst these extraordinarily tired players.
Yes, the physical tide, I think, is now going with Hawthorn, clearly with energy levels, but I think Essendon have got a bit of steel about them. And it's showing when the legs aren't really willing, the mind still is. The centre bound's absolutely critical. Hawthorn have got in top in this area. They got in there, Anderson.
Yeah, Ambrose is doing the rucking for Essendon, so they're improvising. High tackle, advantage is paid. Now this is Duray running down towards half forward. Well, that's a wasted kick. And Hurley lets it fly out of bounds. So Bill Chambers just can't go anymore. He's run himself ragged, run himself into the ground today against McAvoy and Segler behind the pack. Ambrose, though, will be nimble as a ruckman around the ground. Here's Melcham. Hand passes down towards half forward. Danaher can't find much. Hands on to Birchall, and Birchall will get the free. Is it left half back?
Right now, for the Bombers, their minds are willing, their bodies are tired. Time to set the jaw and steal the mind. Birchall has other ideas. Over the top it goes of Sicily. Gwilt will get back there fast. Charging at the ball, Bruce. Bagley went and got hold of the football. Bruce got hold of Bagley. Ball just edges out. First man there, Stratton. Bruce runs into Gwilt. Players exhausted. Was there any effort? Umpire said enough.
Umpire paid that he actually ducked into the tackle, so that was a good decision.
Chance responding. Langford, Sicily, right on the 50. Centering ball, Bagley goes back. One thing we know about the Hawks, they don't play for respect, they've got that. They play for domination. And right now, they just can't dominate this team, but they know they've got the upper hand. Cooney in the back pocket. Clock is running, just over 4 minutes, 10 points the difference. Cooney, short on options, kicks to 2-on-1. The second of those Hawks, Lewis tidies up to Hodge. Burgoyne, right half forward, little chip pass, Anderson. Pretty quiet game, has got it, out at right half forward. Sets a high ball towards full forward. Roughhead in the pack. In front, Hooker didn't stick the landing. Langford over the shoulder. Hill finessing. Bruce trying to back out. Hand passes down the line. Roughhead was back on his heels, and Hurley just pushes it across the line. Hurley has been outstanding today.
You've got to admire this Essendon team. They just keep fighting and fighting. These young players, we know how tired they are, but I think they're going to be a force to be reckoned with this year.
Well, still the margin is just 10 points. Still plenty of time on the clock. Keppel, Ashby stole it from the skipper. Burgoyne waited, paddled it down, did well. Anderson back to Burgoyne. Gwilt Now Suckling.
Yeah, that's good. Yeah.
What a kick. He's an extraordinary player. He could kick the ball through an open window of a passing train.
Yeah, a lot of good things about Hawthorn as a team, but that ability to pick the right target inside 50. I mean, the hardest kick really when you're going into a congested area, but just they work off the kick so well as forwards, but the forwards just keep finding them.
He's kicked one for the afternoon. This would just about seal the Bombers' fate. Dangerous spot still. Bagley watches on. Ambrose hooker. Sicily tries to keep it in. Bouncing ball for Duray. Quick enough to give it off. Langford hesitates. Goes backwards. Did well. Then the Bombers did better. Advantage called. What do they have left, this Bombers outfit?
Well, they don't have the numbers, that's for sure. And Smith comes back to Gunston. Wilt 1 out against 3 there. Now Suckling just jabs it in short. Lewis continues to rack them up. Smith runs off in the opposite direction, not used. He goes forward instead. Duray. Lewis's kick bounced off his chest. Birchall got the crumb. Here's O'Rourke. Lewis once more. Wilt lunges. Got him. Birchall kicks towards the goal square. In best position down there, Ambrose. Hooker taking no chances. Now, the clock is against them. They've got to score a goal. Let's steal this game. Watson got it from Zaharakis. Gave it to Carlisle. Chapman slips over. Going past is Collier. Collier must kick the goal. Lines up. Does! They're 4 points behind. 1 minute and 20 seconds to go. The passion is overflowing at the MCG. And why not?
Fantastic work ethic. They came out of the back, again down the centre corridor. That's what you've got to do. You haven't got time to take the ball round the boundaries. It was just a matter of, he just stumbled with fatigue then, Chapman, but Collier, Melsham, Zaharakis, just been the real ball carriers, and he just took off, kicked the goal. So maybe Hart can take you a long way. Can it take him to a victory?
Plenty of time, Lee.
I don't know.
Hawthorn won the last centre bounce. Critical Essendon get this one.
A tired Bill Chambers gets his hand onto it. Next goal wins it. Cooney. Little give. Suddenly to Melcham. Crashing the ball forward. Who's there for the Bombers? Big fly at the back. Now it's into Spirit. Collier. A little one to Hooker. Can the defender become a goal kicker? Absolutely he can. This is the stuff of fairy tales.
They've still got time to lose it, but how good is this? You almost find yourself barracking, don't you?
Oh, yeah, no, you do. It was like the Tide, just looked like the Tide. They were holding back the Tide, Essendon, and Hawthorn got that couple of goals in front. Then bang, 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 one down the middle, then a nice snap. So they've got the lead. Now Hawthorn have to be able to respond in this last minute of play. They've popped a couple back, Essendon, which is a bit dangerous because that means the play is going to be essentially in Hawthorn's forward half.
It's amazing, isn't it? You've got no dog in the fight, but it almost brings tears to your eyes. There's the bounce in the middle. Up goes Bill Chambers wide. Rioli hasn't got it. So they will have to absorb some pressure here. Rioli comes wide. Suckling didn't go. Clock is down at 44. Suckling, high ball. They need to kill this one, the Bombers. Rough hit one-handed. Gunston, tackled brilliantly by Melcham. O'Rourke, his first game for the Hawks. Charged down by Stanton. Goes across the hill. Ambrose just took him down. Charging in is Stratton. Chance now for Goddard. They may have weathered the storm. This could be one of their finest victories ever. One for the ages. Heppel kicks it towards half forward and Chapman getting across there and knocking it out of bounds. Duray. Clock stops at 15 seconds. Bombers lead by 2. Remarkable scenes at the MCG.
And the ball obviously in the right part of the ground. There's a Hawthorn player down about centre half forward, so the play's going to be held up. Is it Rioli or Hill?
It's Hill.
They haven't called yet. Yep. Yeah, he's getting up. Let's go. We're going! 1 metre!
What a finish we've got. Lewis doing the ruck work. If Essendon can hold on, this is the stuff of the most unlikely. Rioli, 5 seconds, has to find a target. Time will beat them. And Essendon do what no one thought possible. Today the Bombers got to test themselves against the league's best. They did brilliantly, they did stoically, and at the end they did tiredly. And the football world, they will tip their hat to this side.
That is inspiring. I mean, they were gone with about 5 minutes to go, and they've won by 2 points in a second.
Yes. Roost was going in. He was remarkable.
Let's go to Nick Maxwell. He's with an unlikely hero.